Hey everybody, welcome to another Sunday Night Live. It took a little bit for this thing to kick in, so hopefully everybody's having a good Sunday and weekend and good sales. Tonight, as you can see, I do have Mr. Dwayne Mothership Products with me again. No guest
Hello.
tonight. We have three different topics, at least three that we're going to hit on tonight. I don't know if Dwayne has any in his head that he wants to talk about.
No, I'll just follow you.
So, I hope everybody's having a good night. You want to say anything, Dwayne, before we get started?
No, I guess we could do some call outs. There's only a handful of people right now, so that'd be a good time to do it, right?
Well, I guess we can start with the call outs. Even the number's going to climb before we get to the.
Oh, yeah. What's up to you?
Well, I know you said something about you and you do have news, so you actually do have something.
I do have news. Yes, I do have news. So I guess I can start with that. Today, me and my wife decided to start an Etsy store. We didn't know very little about Etsy. I actually contacted Margaret from Texas Gal Treasures, and we'll talk. She's going to talk us through some of the ins and outs while we're doing it tomorrow. She's been gracious enough to give us some of her time, and so we're kind of excited. It's a new platform for me, and we're looking to. My wife has a bunch of old vintage handbags and Afghans and stuff that we've been collecting to just do this kind of stuff. So we're pretty excited, actually.
Well, I could say you could always watch some of my older shows. I have done shows on Etsy.
Oh, I have too. Yeah, no, and I'm actually watched those shows, but I'm just going to have Margaret go down while I'm looking at this, listing screen. Hey, okay, what do I do here? I mean, is it better to do this, that, and the other, But no, I have watched a lot of shows on Etsy, including yours and a lot of the other ones with, some of the other hosts of shows. But I think it'll just be pretty good for me and my wife to sit down and do it with Margaret, just IMing back and forth, trying to get, because it just seems a lot different. With eBay, it seems like the description area is getting smaller and smaller, and they're, they don't want you to put so much stuff in there, and they don't want any active content. Whereas you go to Etsy, and it's like they tell the whole story of the, the items. So it's going to be a little different, that's for sure.
Well, I'm going to say this to Amelia, because I don't know how long ago she started watching, but she says, good, I have an Etsy store, but gave it up because of no sales, eager to learn. Like I would just jokingly said to Mr. Dwayne here, I did have shows on Etsy, Amelia, so if you really look back, I have a show with Planet Alyssa and Thrifty Teresa that is one of my higher viewed videos on Etsy. So that's
and I'll have to go back and rewatch those now that it makes a little more sense.
And Dwayne Henry says that if you need more help, he can help you too.
Okay, great. Thanks, Henry. Yvonne says, "What does better, eBay or early?"
She means
Etsy. And then she said Etsy. I'm like, early? Wow. Well, if you're asking me, Yvonne, I don't know. We just started today, so but you might have to ask specifically who you're asking, because obviously I just started. We've got one item, and it didn't sell today, so that's all where I'm at.
Well, we haven't gotten any Etsy listings up yet. I keep talking to the wife about it, and every time I do, she's like, well, if you do, it's your baby. And like I jokingly said to her, everywhere I sell on seems to be my baby.
Right. All that means is I don't want to do it, but I'll help you. You do it. But she doesn't want to be responsible for it. I get it. All right.
Vaughn meant to ask me that question. So, like I said, I don't have a story yet. So, depending on who you ask in reality, like Angie was on last Wednesday. She'll tell you probably by her standards, Etsy's doing a lot better than eBay. But it's just like anything else, depending on how much effort you put into the selling site.
Absolutely. In fact, Angie just came in. So I'm just telling everybody, Angie, that me and my wife started an Etsy store today. So be ready on speed dial when I need to ask questions answered. So
Well,
looks like what we got: Henry and Swamp Picker and Yvonne, and Angie just made it in. Tina's Closet. Yep, Linnell, Idaho Pickers. Prof Sales was here. I think he might still be here. Let's see, go up a little bit further. Of course, Henry's here. Henry, I think, was the first one in, like 2 hours ago.
He always he comes in an hour early and starts the countdown. Hour to go, 30 minutes to go. And there's Mr. Ted Goldenfinger.
Yeah. Oh, Chad made it in. Kyle said he was or is here. I think that's it.
And Jeff Davidson says, not here, just trolling.
Oh, you're trolling? All right. We like trolls. I know. So.
Okay, well, Amy wanted to ask you a question. It's up to you if you want to give the answer. But that was good. Yes, because it'll be a good lead into our first topic for tonight.
Okay.
He wants to know if you can share your Etsy store.
Sure. I mean, it's called the Vintage Ship. So I'll type it in there. Hold on.
And the reason I said I would lead right good into our first topic is because the topic is to share or not to share in the social media.
Yeah, and my wife, if you want hers is going to be that's my wife's when she gets hers up and running. We got hers started, but we didn't get pictures and stuff taken to actually get her items listed yet. So.
Well, so what brought this topic up was that certain posts in the groups, I'm not saying in resale site, in other groups, have been where people have complained or they had gotten messages from people that were found their store through their sold posts, whether they put the ID or not, they would go back. In one case, people go by the picture and find the picture that they showed for the item, and then they find the sold listing, and then they find the store.
Mm-hmm.
So my question was, and we get this as YouTubers all the time, what's your store name? What do you sell? How much are we wanting to share? It's up to each individual person.
Exactly. I agree too. Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading. Chad says, "Never share anything creates competition for yourself." I think we share a lot of things. Yeah, I think we share a lot of things, and I think if people really want to figure out your stores, it's really not that hard. I mean, typically, a lot of the things that you sell or I sell or Chad or anybody sells, if there's a haul video and it pulls up and they show you it, I mean, there can't be but 10. And let's say you know that I live in Utah. You can go in and say, okay, close to Utah and a Sunbeam toaster. And you'll be able to find the stores. I mean, they're really not that hard. I do understand people trolling, and I've personally not had trouble with that, but I know it has happened, and I know people it's happened too. And to me, that's hurtful. I mean, we're out here, we're sharing things with people, and then you get that kind of treatment, and it just really, it's sad, to be honest.
And this person one of the people that brought this not in my head was the fact that they weren't even a YouTuber like we are. They were just share their surprise or happiness of a big sale. And then this person sends them a message, not even on Facebook. They did it in eBay. And
yeah, I actually heard about that too.
And that they found their store through the group. Instead of being nice and just doing whatever they're going to say on Facebook.
Right. And I know that the admins of most groups frown upon that, going out the back door to get to somebody, when, you know, things should be, if you're going to talk about or to people in the Facebook groups, you know, stay within the group, where it's a little more moderated. It's a little bit more casual. And if, you know, of course, I'm not saying that if me and you wanted to talk on the side that you couldn't give me your IM address or whatever, but obviously that person didn't want, or didn't necessarily not want to, or want to, either way. But to have somebody go out and come back at them through the other way, it's kind of, I don't know, kind of scary if you get it.
And you admit that you found them through the group anyway.
Right. It's just a place to start stalking, and it's just I tease people about being stalkers, but you know, I've never actually had one. I'm not that important.
So
yeah, see, oh,
go ahead.
See, Brian, how are you? Brian, see how you are. Okay, I'll admit it. So about sometime last week, I got spammed by somebody, and I accidentally hit the wrong button, and I ended up spamming a bunch of people about cigarettes. I don't even smoke anymore. I haven't smoked in a long time, but I ended up spamming quite a few people, and people had to contact me and say, do you know that you're spamming everybody? So there you go, Brian. I owned up to it right here in front of everybody.
So that's one of our first topics, and I know, like Chad said, he's had trolls go after his store. There are people that, for whatever reason, want to hurt other people, and that's part of why I stopped sharing my store. Mm-hmm. I tried changing my Facebook page. Yes, I want the sales, but I don't want to necessarily have my viewers be the ones that have to buy from me. Right. If they really want my store, they know how to get hold of me and ask me my store, and if I trust them enough, I'll give it to them. Or if you find my store and you follow me, because I've had people follow me, I didn't even know they were viewers until later. They're like, "Oh, I'm one of your viewers on your channel." I'm like, "Cool, that was different." It's not like they were trying to get into my store to do anything to me. They watched my store to see if they can learn anything. Not that I do much in my store anyway, but
well, it you know, it's all about personal preference. You know, I'm kind of an open person. I don't normally piss a whole lot of people off that I know of, to the point that they would come after me. But then again, I'm a pretty forward person, and I pretty much call it like it is. So there's only been a couple of times that I've actually really been upset with somebody in the reseller group, and I'm sure they know it when when it happens. So, but like I said, I'm kind of an open person, but I don't know. Maybe I'll stop being quite so open. And I mean, like I said, it's not hard to find if you want to. And the people that are in the reseller groups, they can find me any which way they want to. You know, it's like you said, it's kind of the troll people that are either just watch once in a while or just stopped in or something like that I would worry about. Yeah, just like Chad said, I don't share your store, but if you really want to find it, it's not that hard.
Yeah, and Puff Sales asked, I mean, I get this like 1 minute after going live, I haven't even said anything yet. What do you think those people might do in my store? And he's talking back to Vaughn because they're going back and forth about the haters and stuff like that. If they really hate you and they really wanted to hurt your business, like other people have done to YouTubers, they will find a way to find your mailing address. They'll send you stuff. They'll do stuff like that. There have a lot of stories about that. And I'm not talking about this Chad. There's others that I've heard of, even people I don't really care about now, that had it happen to them. So it's depending on your personality, I think, too, and depending on how many people actually start to dislike you. If you rub them the wrong way, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway.
Exactly. I agree with you. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, and it's Coco, of course, she says she's antisocial. I don't know if she's antisocial. She's just private person. She comes in and talks with us all the time, or types with us. She doesn't really talk, but and she's a trusted person in the community, and but she just chooses not to be out there face to face, and that's completely great with me. I tease her a lot about we're gonna have to get her on a show or something, but it's completely up to her.
Well, and I know when I first started, I wasn't a YouTuber like everybody else was. I was started like everybody else. I was watching and asking, commenting, everything else during shows. And then I don't know who it was. I just started making my own groups and whatnot. I started my own group, and then I'm like, I'm starting to put myself out there. I'm like, why not see if I can do a YouTube channel? And then I started the shows, and then it's like, here I am. And yes, I have a little bit more at risk because of certain things. That if somebody really wanted to hurt me, they could, but I wanted to try getting better anyway. So it's just I don't know. That's the way I'm feeling right now. Is just I'm not really afraid of my store getting hurt, but I'm not gonna necessarily flaunt it out so everybody can find it. Let them do the work, like Chad says.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'm not going to change the way I do business, but I may not be so open with certain aspects of my business. But typically, like I said, I'm pretty open. I'm not. I don't hide things too much. What do we got going on in the chat over here?
Well, Lon said she's not trying to be pissed, so I haven't seen all of her comments. But Brian says to please hold the language because Biscuit Head is watching.
Okay, I'll do what I can, Brian. And Biscuit Head, how are you? Been a while.
Hey there, Biscuit Head. Miss ya.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a long time. Let's see.
Let's see. I'm gonna see before we go on to our next topic.
Well, what do they? What do people in the chat say? I mean, do you feel that the reselling community itself is I mean, would you share things with them, or would you hold back a little bit just because you're not sure? Everybody has a different level of comfort there. Obviously, we know some people like Chad. He's talked about it a lot. He's pretty open, but he leaves a couple things behind just for his sanity and for his his welfare. But like he says, it's not that hard to find either. What about other people in the chat?
Well, Cassie Farbog says, I love all you people that share, have learned much. I found you guys a year ago and been selling it since '99. Thank you much. I kind of slow through YouTube was for joke. Oh, kind of thought slow YouTube was for jokes. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and Biscuit Head was trying to figure out how he knew who she was. She may not even remember. Anyway. And Angie says that she once thought that she didn't want people to know her store, but now she doesn't care because she's gotten business from YouTube subs. So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so it's a catch-22. The trolls / haters can hurt your business by hiding your store, and then you can get nice subs that will buy from you. Even before
sure.
I've had Chris Nice bought from me, even though he didn't have to do it through eBay. He did it through eBay before we even started the shows when he was doing the show with me. So it's like he was a sub to me beforehand, when we became friends, and it went from there.
Well, I agree with what Swamp Picker just said. I know a lot of people would much more, which would feel much more comfortable sharing in live hangouts when you're face to face with somebody, or sort of face to face. That's a little easier. That makes a lot more sense to a lot of people too. Angie doesn't share with her family. Jeez, Angie, I feel like I'm part of the family. You don't share with me. She's talking to her other family, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
Amelia says, I may share, but not to people who live in my area. Well, I guess that's understandable. I mean, if you think that what you would be sharing would affect your immediate business, or somebody that shops at the same places as you, that makes
Well, see,
complete
I know
sense. Yeah.
we're talking about YouTube, Facebook, but there's also Twitter, because technically I got my store linked to my Twitter, and yet when I do the shows, I put the Twitter out there too. So it's like, eventually, if I might have put an item on Twitter or an item, they're gonna find my store that way. So it's
Right. Right. Mary Finley. Oh, Mary Finley, she actually, it's Nathan, I believe, won our drawing a couple weeks ago, and he said, hello, the book is awesome. Speaking of that, I still have this book. I got a hold of, what was it?
Leisure Picker.
Leisure Picker, yeah. And he decided he didn't want it. He just wanted to win. He liked playing the game. So maybe next week or something we'll do another drawing for this book again. I'll come up with some question for next week, and we'll do it that way.
Yeah, and while you're talking about next week, I'll talk about Wednesday night. I secured a guest for Wednesday night, and we're gonna have a certain topic. I'm not necessarily gonna talk about the topic tonight, so don't ask anybody. It's kind of a surprise. But we're gonna have the Gil Money, aka Gil Daddy, aka Gil Mama, on the show this Wednesday night. And maybe one of the guests, if they get a hold of me before Tuesday night. So.
Yeah, Paul says it's a secret. And we're so good at keeping secrets here.
and what's right too? What's the topic, Chris?
Right. All right, well, let's move on to the next topic and see where we're at there.
Well, the next one is based again on another post, but I changed it to a little bit. No, this is not a post. This is from Friday night when Ronnie and Pete were doing the show since Chad couldn't do it, and there was a viewer in there that was being more not necessarily sexual. He was just saying he was going to do a lot of things with male resellers, nothing with females. And I wanted to know what there might be for gender differences in practices. Like we were talking before the show, I have anywhere from 40% to 50% evened out in female to male ratio, depending on how, when I look at it. So I'm not going to want to cut off an arm of viewers / people I can help, and that may give back to me just because of their sex.
Sure. Well, and I think different genders have different weaknesses and strengths in reselling. I've heard Chad talk many times that Kim is probably a better negotiator than he is. And that's just, something she's better at. I'm sure when we go to do things, I don't sell women's clothing, but my wife, being a woman, she knows a lot more about women's clothing than I do. And that would be something that she would be a lot better at than me. And I think I don't think there's anyone inherently better or worse, just different. Just like in most things in life, men and women have different roles, but they're not set in stone. Anything can be moved around. Like my wife could definitely go out and do men's clothing, and that wouldn't, freak me out or anything. So,
I'm going to put it this way, because, and not to start any problems, because I love all resellers, but predominantly makeup, Tupperware, candles are usually associated with females.
True.
How many men do you hear say, "I'm having a party, come to my house"?
True. Well, women, well, in my life, let's put it that way, the women I know are much more social than I am. they would much rather do face-to-face parties where I would much rather sell on eBay where I don't have to, necessarily deal with the person, But yeah, I think there's just a lot of different ways of selling. Like you said, whether it's MLM parties, Tupperware parties or whatever, or eBay reselling, thrifting. Everybody has their own way of selling, and I think it's it's a great span there.
Okay, we have a couple comments that I want to read off. First one is Swift J says, I sell tons of Mary Carey on eBay. That's why I said most times. I'm sure if you were to ask your customers if they thought you were a male or a female, they'd probably say you're a female if you don't answer, you don't sign with your name.
True.
And
I agree.
And Idaho says, I guess I'm too old for some stuff like video games. You're never too old to learn. Just watch Yard Sale Hunter. Watch anybody else that has video game videos about reselling or collecting, and you'll find what games are hot. Look at Chad. He's not a video game person per se. He's a whatever I can make money off of, and most of the time now he's talking about getting video games. So
I agree. Age. I don't think age has a lot to do with it unless you're dead set against it. Learning about it. My son plays games a lot, and I play games with him once in a while, and I'll tell you what, I suck at them. But I can sell them. I just can't play them. So. Oh, and look at that. Mike says, and Chad is damn old. I'm sorry, Brian. I didn't mean to. I was just reading the chat. I didn't remember. So I'll be better.
Well, and Idaho says, I don't know what's the best ones. Well, Idaho, you got somebody right there in the chat that you can watch. Like I said, you can watch, get a hold of. I'm sure when he's not in school, Mr. 14-year-old, or no, soon to be 15-year-old, I think, Kyle can help anybody with video games. He's helped Chad. So.
Sure. Well, and again, I wasn't saying anybody's against it. It's just if you choose to learn about it and do the research. Kyle said he's 15. So.
Well, I know it. Well, when I had him on my show, he was 14. So.
Right. Well, Chris, people do get older as time goes on. 14, and then comes 15 shortly thereafter.
Yeah. Okay. But when somebody has been on your show for 6 months or longer, it's kind of hard to remember exactly how old they were when you were on your show. That's
true. I'm just giving you a hard time. So.
I know. I've tried having other teenagers on the show. I wanted to get that teenage angle every once in a while, and Kyle seems to be the only one that wants to come, is willing to come on and
right
share his knowledge.
Well, I know at one time Kyle actually put in one of the groups that he wanted to meet up with or meet people more his age. And I don't think anybody. I think he had one 20-year-old hit saying, I'm about the closest. There's just not a lot of people out there at his age doing this kind of stuff, which kind of leads into one of the other topics, right?
Yeah, that's the other one. But I care a little bit more about this one because
sure.
Like we said, most of when somebody says they're going to set up a store, we've talked about this before the show. If somebody's going to start up a network or whatever, however you want to word it, of just one sex, that goes off the others. You said you brought up the resellers too. I said, and you were saying that's all female. I said yes, but how many of the shows have a mix of men and female at all?
Yeah,
the
you
only
brought
one I
that
can think of off the top of my head is J and A.
Right, that's probably the only one I can think of. I mean, periodically one of the other ones will have a female guest, or a female will have a male guest, but not very often. You're right.
Like I said when I started this show 3 years ago. Now it doesn't feel like it's been that long. I had Sean and I had Kristen, so I had the female perspective. I had the beginner / seller with me. I had the intermediate with Sean / whatever you want. And then when I had a guest like Dana Crawford or you, not you, but you weren't on that time. But I mean, or Chad or somebody that had more knowledge, there was the expert guest. So everybody was able to learn, the viewers plus us as the co-hosts type of thing.
Mm-hmm. In the chat, they did mention Profit Talk, which was one with Danica and Paul, but that they haven't done anything since the beginning of summer.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're coming back, so.
Right, I don't know either. I haven't heard from Danica in a long time.
But that's what I'm saying. Out of everybody that you know, that's only 2 shows.
Right. No, I agree. I think you're right. I think we do segregate ourselves mostly to and mostly it is male shows. There are a few, like Resellers choose a female show, female only, just to, I think it was just to get more females involved. And then, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so that's why when somebody in the comments on a live show said, I'm only going to work with male, whatever, or I'm going to only work with female, I'm like I said it myself. I said, I doubt, at least in my case, I would work with somebody that's going to want to work with only men. Because I want to be able to help the women learn and get better too. Because there's things that they can teach me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to give, I want it to work out where everybody gets to learn something.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't mind helping anybody that I can help. So.
Rebecca, Andy asked about Rebecca. She said, "See what I need to show for." Yeah, Rebecca has had a lot of business things coming up this month. She might have been on last Sunday, but something came up because this month she's in. The last I knew, she's gonna be in California for the whole month. So, and I already knew that her schedule wasn't gonna necessarily have her on every week. But that's where I was still trying to bring Dwayne with the intermediate. Because I still consider myself a beginner, but everybody says I got the knowledge of more of a better seller. But because of the way where I stand in my business, I still see it as a beginner. That's why even on my post, I don't put I'm gonna do intermediate or pro listings, because of the way our lives are, beginner is lucky if we can get one sometimes. So, and I want to have Rebecca on. I wanted to have that perspective. That's what I'm saying. She had the estate sales perspective. She had Louisiana's perspective. Whereas you had Utah. I have Colorado.
Sure.
Else get everything else from somewhere. So it's.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's nice to try and change it up and get different perspectives throughout, over time, and different levels, whether it's beginner, intermediate, the female perspective, or like you said, estate sales. Everybody brings something else different to the table. So, oh my, okay. I'm just going to skip over those. I mean, there's some interesting chat in the chat, so
yeah.
I'll just.
But I'm gonna address one without really reading it.
Uh-huh.
If you didn't like it, if you weren't getting any information, you wouldn't be watching this "quote unquote" party.
Right. And
I know he's more or less joking. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be people that want to have just one person. It's like that's what I'm trying. I would like to have it where more people are on and they go along and mix things up, where there's more like of male female shows like that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So.
And Fifth Day said yes, joking. So I knew he would.
Well, yeah.
I had to play back a little bit.
Yep. Parrot Head is in the house. Hello.
And our third topic, unless you want to do another quick shout out, because we actually have 31 viewers.
I don't know. I think we've pretty much nailed most of the people that are here. Then I haven't seen a whole lot of new people. I think Krillin maybe has come in since we did a yell out. Steven Scroggins, Debbie Beshin.
I think it's how it's pronounced, but that's
Well, hey, I try. That's
well,
all I can. That's all I can
seen
do. I
it.
promise. I try. That's it. Oh, Drew. Drew's here.
Well, I was saying that only because Sean always had a hard time saying her name too when he was here.
Who?
Sean Kutos.
Oh. Oh, okay. So, yeah, there's a couple more people. How are you, Drew? I haven't talked to you in a while. Been a long time.
Stephen Strong said Black Eyed Joe would be good on the show since he's from the Australia. But that's the thing. Our time zones are so bad. I don't know what time it is there right now.
Yeah, he was on the show that I was on the other night. Like, was it last night? Last night, I think, or night 4. Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was last night. And I think it was still morning there, like 10 in the morning or something. So,
Yeah, so when we're on the air, he may be outsourcing.
right, exactly. Or it might be 8 in the morning or something there. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Hey, yeah. See, Chris? Debbie says I did good with the name. There you go. Yeah, Krillin. Give me some questions.
I was just responding that we were going to get to we're going to take questions from the viewers after we get our third topic. That's why
Sure.
15 minutes plus whatever for the viewers. But our third topic, since you didn't have one this week, or I think maybe you brought.
I'm sharing. Come
I
on.
thought about it. You're the one that actually brought the one about. Well, we watched these last two together. The first one was my idea, but the last two we actually worked together on.
Yeah, that's true.
But there was another post about children, and this topic is about guiding children properly in the reselling world. Because a lot of us started, or I shouldn't say a lot of us, but a lot of people started selling stuff in school or around school or in the hangout area where they're like, okay, I have an extra one of this, give me this or whatever. So they learned that the supply and demand that way.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, are the parents doing it? And it's not a judgment on parents per se, but when they allow the kids to do that without telling them what the consequences can be, what good and what is that going to do for if they want to really become a reseller in the beginning or later in life? If they got shut down by the school or by wherever they're at because of policy or laws, like some kids get shut down with their lemonade stands because they didn't have permits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if they get shut down enough, they're going to say, fine, I'm going to go work for somebody else. I'm not going to have that. They're not going to have that entrepreneurial spirit to actually try working for themselves, selling on eBay, selling Amazon, starting a store, or whatever their passion may be.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I kind of think if anything, that would be a great learning experience. Suppose you have a lemonade stand or a child has a lemonade stand, and they get the thrill of making money and serving people and doing good customer service. And if they get shut down, I would use that more as a learning experience that, okay, see, there are things that you have to do. Maybe you need to go get a permit, and maybe that's a way to look into it to show that things have to be done a certain way. It can't just be the way you want to do it, or you throw a sign in your yard and you can be a psychiatrist. That there are things that you need to actually either whether they're permits or knowledge or things like that. That would be a learning experience on how to do it better next time. I think the younger you can start learning about customer service and treating customers as your part of your business, I think that's a great thing. The sooner you learn that, the better business person you're going to be. What about you, Chris?
Well, yeah, I agree with that, and but I also see it where the other way also with like I said, the post was actually about an 8-year-old, so
Mm-hmm.
and she was competing against the school. So
Mhm.
in a way, the parent knew that they were breaking the rule. So I wouldn't have even. I I would encourage you to say, try doing it off school grounds, or I'll stand with you, or whatever. That way,
Mhm.
somebody somebody tries something like away from the school, she's there to protect the kid
Right.
and anything like that. And then that way, you're not risking getting in trouble with the school for anything because you're not on ground selling stuff and,
Mhm.
and everything like that. So you have to work within the law and rules of where you're going to be.
Agreed. Agreed. And we all do. I mean, every reseller here has to work within eBay's rules, you know, or Amazon's or Etsy's or whatever platform you use. I mean, there's going to be rules no matter what you do, whether it's tax rules or you know, financing rules, or you need to do, you know, some people have to get liability insurance when, you know, they do some, not necessarily reselling, but you know, some construction type work, you know, they have to be able to prove that they can um, if there's a problem, they can, you know, pay. Same thing with all the other things is, you know, if there's going to be rules no matter what. And the sooner you can figure out how to do a good business within the rules, the better off you're going to be.
If you
And
have,
just like you were saying, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. You
I was just going to say, just like you were saying is, okay, it doesn't work here in the school, whether the mother or father or parent knew or not, whether they could do that. Um, you know, who knows? But okay, so we can't do it here. That doesn't mean you can't. You have to stop doing it. You just have to find the right way to do it over here. You know, on this corner in our front yard. You know, or however. So again, it's more of a learning experience that okay, well, just because it doesn't work this way and we're breaking some kind of rule this way, that doesn't mean you have to stop. You just have to figure out to do it within the rules.
Well, before we get to Idaho's question on this topic,
Mm-hmm.
Henry says that he's looking to sell tea and barbecue rub on his Etsy. Now, I don't know the rules on Etsy or the rules for California.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things you're gonna have to look up and say, okay, am I gonna legally be able to sell food on Etsy? And does it have to have any of these labels and this, that, the other thing? I know that you can sell food from what I've heard on Etsy,
Mm-hmm.
but the point being, you got to do all the research before you start doing it because you don't want to get in trouble and lose your Etsy account since you already are having a hard time. You had lost your eBay account if I remember correctly. So that would be if he loses Etsy, that's a second uh, account place that he wouldn't be able to sell.
Right.
The less you have to sell, the less people you get to view because a lot of the smaller sites don't necessarily get to views that Etsy, eBay, and Amazon get.
Right. Right. And again, like just like Chris is saying, make sure you look through it and verify that um, you know you're doing everything right before you start doing some kind of food stuffs. Because I'm sure there's some kind of you know sterilization process. I don't know. I'm sure there's something. I mean, you can't just really just jump out there with that unless you've looked into it. Make sure that you're doing it the right way.
Okay, well, before we get to Krillin's questions and start doing that, because we're at the 15 minutes before the show ends, I want to go extra, which is why I kind of told you this topic, how I wanted to work this show tonight,
Absolutely.
which is actually going pretty good. Right along
How did that happen? Jeez, like we knew what we were doing or something.
Idaho for this topic, when I asked, what would you guys say would be a good starting age to start as a youngster? As young as they start showing interest. As we already saw, Brian has Biscuit Head. He's already taken her out to the thrift stores and bought stuff with her. I'm sure he's shown her what things have sold and then showed her packing when he could at the time. He may get back into reselling. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing with his merch and everything else. But I'm sure he's gonna be showing her what he's doing with that situation. Say, this is a good way to make money. This is watch ads, see what you're into. Because if they're not into reselling, there's no chance of pushing it. The more you push it on them, they're gonna walk away. Now, if you want to say like another post, somebody said a kid was selling his own video games or whatever it was, his own stuff, to go buy more stuff that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So that kid was running at that time if he didn't already know what he was doing for selling.
Yep, I agree, and I would say pretty much the same thing that Chris said. As soon as they start showing any kind of interest, not turn them loose on it, but bring them into the fold. Show them, hey, we bought this at a yard sale because they were trying to get rid of it, and this is how I do it, and we figure out how to sell it for more. Of course, like I said, you don't want to turn them loose because kids are crazy. They'll sell their Hot Wheels for $600 to somebody down the street and never get paid, and those kind of things. So I think there has to be some parental involvement for quite some time. But and according to I believe according to eBay, I don't know. I'm not even going to ask. I'm not even getting into that because I do not know. I was going to say
you have to be 18. You have to be 18 in order to sell, but you can. I think you can. Kids can sell under their parents' account.
I agree. I think that's what it is. It's you're just like most anything. Unless if they're under 18, the parents have to accept all the liability and responsibility. So, but if I could get, how many? Here's a good, honest question. How many of the resellers out there wish they would have started 10, 15, 20 years earlier, with kind of knowing what they know now? Pre-internet, but would have started selling and reselling and going to garage sales and getting the bug earlier than you already have. I would say that most everybody says, oh yeah, I wish I would have started 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because everybody, it's something that all of us love. So I think anytime a child shows interest in anything, it should be explored, whether it's reselling or any aptitude, because you never know what it'll turn into. So
Debbie Machine said that her 10-year-old does toy sourcing, and it has a special needs on a 3 to 4-year-old level. So she's at least getting her out and having her have fun, and she said she's doing good, not up to her age level using. Oh, walk. Okay, she was responding to somebody else's question, but and then Swamp Picker says, banana. Yeah, I can say what today. Banana peeler is young at 7 or 8. His dad and brother help him.
Yeah, sure, exactly. If they feel that there's something, if they're interested in it, explore it. And oh, Angie, you're full of crap. Angie says, I'm almost ready to hang it up. I'll figure I got 5 years left in her and she'll be done. Angie, please. You will do this until you die, I'm sure. And you've got 15, 20, 30 years left. 5 years. My goodness.
But as long as that's the thing. As long as the kid is enjoying it and having fun, and you enjoy it and having fun, and you don't, like I said, I have a hard time with everything that's going on in my life, but I'm still listing things. As you can see, we kind of started cleaning up behind me with the houses. We got one house out. And you know what? We got 30 houses, plus smaller stuff. So we had to do all the comparison of what was going to be worth what, go on where, and we're still debating where we're going to do some other stuff.
Sure. Yeah, because you know how much you love it, and I'm sure if a child started earlier and they had the same drive and same love for it that you did, that's just bringing joy to their lives. Plus the fact that they can make their own money, and that's really important to children. And it doesn't always have to come out of the parents' pocket if you do it that way. So if they can make their own money and see that, hard work pays off, the harder they work, the more money they make. If I work harder and I get 5 things listed, then I may make more money this week than I did last week that I only got 1. So I think there's a lot of good things in reselling, that teach good, economics and responsibility to children. I wish my kids were excited about it. I almost got my youngest son to do it. I said, you pick whatever you want. And I think he kind of at the time decided on ties, because ties are small, easy to do, pretty cheap. They don't really sell all that well right now, but he was kind of excited, and I could give him some brands to look at, but he never really picked up on it. It just wasn't his passion. So, but you never know.
Just like, well, that's why when we got asked this way back when about what to do with their certain kids, I said, do their video games, get them into something that they're into, so that way they, like that kid did. He went and sold his video games so he can go buy more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And the crazy card said kids don't return bottles or collect cans as they did when I was a kid, and I'm there with you. In fact, the first time I got in trouble with some authorities, I was a child of I was in first grade, so what's that, 6 years old, and I took a bottle of an 8-pack of bottles to the store and got my 80 cents worth, because what we'd do is we'd turn the bottles in and then go buy some red cream sodas from the other gas station. Well, I thought, hey, this is cool. If I put them in this, because they had this big cart at the front of the store, that you'd go through the line, they'd give you your 80 cents, and they'd put these in this cart. Well, I had a friend that would talk to the cashier, and I'd go around and pick them out of the cart and go back in through another line and get another 80 cents. And that, I'm sorry, but that's just what happened. I didn't mean to do it. 6 years old, I admit. But yeah, I got busted. So, but just a small story. Sorry, I digressed.
Well, not Mr. Jason went to bed. He had to go. So
Who did?
Professor Sales.
Oh,
Jason.
Okay. See you, prof. Oh, yep. See, everybody's like, geez, Dwayne. So, yeah, I know.
Amelia says her kids have the idea of doing this, but they don't follow through unless I do it for them. Well, that's when you're going to start saying, Amelia, that I know you want to be a good mommy and be your friend to them, but if they really want something, say, you want it, sell this stuff that you don't use. Start putting your foot down and saying, especially if they're old enough to understand what's going on. They're not using something, then get rid of it so you can get something better that you want to use.
Yeah, I agree. Depending on how old the kids are, you can't force them to follow through with that kind of stuff. If it's, I wish you could sometimes, but a lot of times, the kids lose interest or, realize that it's actual work, which, or, stuff like that. And that's always, that's always the hard things to teach. That's what being a parent is called, is teaching them those small things that are huge things in real life later on. That's the problem with the kids today. They never had to work for things. The sense of entitlement is ruining our youngsters. I think I agree, unfortunately. And I'm one of the ones ruining my kids. I think I spoiled my kids rotten. Now, looking back.
I was just about to say, but maybe you should start taking my advice that I gave to Amelia.
Yeah, I should. Except that the problem is my kids are older. I got 23 and 18 and a 16. So.
Well, then, okay. The only one that you have to really worry about is your 16-year-old. The other two should be able to figure out what they're going to do to make their money.
I agree, and I do. I put a lot more responsibility on him about how he wants to make his money than just giving him money. I don't give him money, so yep, that's it. It's work. They think no one will want the things. Well, if no one wants all the things, then you should just show them that this big, huge group of people here, these, if let's say you're part of the reseller society, there's 18,000 of us.
Almost 20,000 now.
Is it that many? I don't know. I don't keep track of the number, but obviously we're selling stuff. So,
or you can do the other thing. Say, okay, you think you don't want it, and you don't think it's worth anything. Either you buy it from them and just leave it like that, or you say it's going in the garbage and not necessarily throw it away. You could put it in somewhere else and sell it yourself, and then say, now I just sold what you had me throw away, and show them what money you made.
I agree. I agree. Let's see. Parrothead Picker says, I was a horrible father to my kids. According to them, my parents didn't buy me a car, and I didn't buy my kids one either. Mine are 20 and 24. You want to drive, you can work for it. I am right there with you. I have not purchased a child a car. I did, I believe, the way my dad did it, I agree with the way my dad did it. He said, I will pay half. You earn half, and I will pay the other half. And that, to me, that makes them partially responsible. But sometimes some of those things are just, they're huge mountains to a kid. I mean, to a 16-year-old, if you say, $3,000 for a car, I mean, that's like an unsurmountable hill for them. But if you say $1,500 and I will pay the other $1,500, then they still have to work for it. They still get that
satisfaction.
Yeah, the satisfaction of working it for themselves. So, I personally, I bought my own cars. I never had that, but I had several cars before I was 16 too. I think I had 3 cars before I was 14. But that's just because I'm kind of a car guy, so I would work on them and stuff like that. But everybody does things differently. But I'm exactly like you, Parrothead. I'm not going to. I will pay for half on big things, if it's negotiated with me. But I'm not going to, pay insurance. I'm not going to pay gas. Those are all up to them. So.
Before we end the show, we did have the one question from Krillin, so I wanted to address that. And then, ironically, it was a show. We did a show on this topic, or I did, with Gladys. He asked,
"Oh yeah, that's right.
Did you ever see sponsored listing on eBay? You can pay extra to get your item higher. I usually only see 1 or 2 near the top. What is the deal? The deal is that is the promoted listings, where you pay an X percentage on top of your regular fees. And what will happen when your item comes up in the search, they'll put it where it says sponsored an area, and depending on how many items you have, you can, or how many in the what's the word I'm looking for, or the word that they use, I can't think of it. I can't remember the exact word, but you can have X amount of listings included in this listing thing for the promoted listings. And then when you sell something, it has to have items of more than one in the listing. So you can have anywhere from 2 to hundreds of an item. And then you say you're going to want to go up to 2% extra or 5%. You can go all the way up to 20% extra on top of your regular fees for their advertising from eBay. So say you sell a $200 item, and you had more than one, and you sold one, and you wanted to give them 10%. They get $20 on top of the regular fees for the cost of $200 plus shipping.
Krillin's asking, how do you do that? Is it when you do your listings, or
you have to go through? You have to go through the promoted listings.
Oh, okay, because I've never done it. So,
if you go back, Krillin, on I think it's about a month ago, I had a show with Gladys Ramos on call with the title "Promoted Listings."
Yeah, there you go.
Or no, actually, yes, it was promoted listings. Yeah, I think I was getting it confused with my collection one where I said the Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm. So he says, yeah, is it when you do your listing process, but the deal is having multiple listings.
Yeah, or multiple items in the listing. So I actually have 3 going now because I had patterns that had duplicates. So I had 3 in one and 2 in the other. So, and I'm doing, I think, 3% on top of what the fees would be for regular selling, because it's only a 5-hour items or whatever it is now. So I wasn't going to go no 10% and all that. But depending on how high of an item you're having or how many you have, it'll keep your items going. And when you have good until canceled and you do it, then you have to make sure when your item sells, you reset it back to the your new number, so you don't have any issues later in the listing itself.
Mm. So, do we have any other questions in the chat?
He's still asking about the promoted listings. I'm gonna. Oh no, I don't want to. I was gonna try showing something, but I don't know if show it without signing in. Well, why don't you give a little story or something, because I need to. I'm gonna see if I can figure it out without, or I'll just sign in and show it, and I'll risk my store. I'll share tonight.
No. After all that talk about sharing, now he's going to share. So.
Hey, I want him to learn. I want to help. So.
Yep, I understand. So did anybody else in the chat have anything happen good this week? While we're waiting for Chris to share over there. Idaho Falls Picker saying, no, don't share. So
I got to Google instead. I tried doing it on eBay.
Krillin's asking, but they can be different colors. If I have 10 dress shirts, same designers but different colors, is that okay?
No, then you gotta do
those are variations, right?
Yeah, that's a variation listing. I don't know about doing that part of it.
Okay, Henry, I don't know what pinking is, but I'm sure you need to retype it. Did some pinking today. Sounds kind of dirty if you ask me.
Okay, Krillin, type in. I'll just do this. I can't put it in the link. I won't let you put links in the chat. Krillin, type in. Well, actually, I'll do the screen share, and then you can see the link itself. Instead of you trying to read it off.
I know. I knew that's what it was, Krillin. I was just giving Henry crap. Any other questions in the chat while we're waiting for Krillin to get his question answered by Chris? Oh, Chris is sharing over here.
Okay. Now, I'm going to focus on me. So, this is for the promoted list. There's the link right here. For anybody that wants. This will give you more of a rundown of what it is. Showcase your items for promoted listings. You boost the item visibility. Start a campaign. That's the word I was trying to look for. And it's only available to active store subscribers in the US, UK, Germany, and Australia. So if you're in India, I'm sorry, you cannot do this. And that gives you the different things, more visibility, more opportunity. Your fees appear on your invoice. So right there, you'll know when there's no surprises. It's a benefit, quick and simple setup. You choose the listings you want to promote, set your ad rates, which is what I was talking about, the percentage that you wanted to pay back, and launch your campaign. It's that easy. You can start and stop a campaign for as long as you want. You can go for a day, 30 days. So, and if you don't make a sale, you don't pay. Like I said, you go from 1% to 20%.
And what does that do? Does that get you further up in the listings search?
It can. Like when you were doing, if you do a search of what something you're going to list, and you see a listing and then it says sponsored. That's the promoted listings.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Like it says here, more ways to boost item visibility. And then you get the questions, get listings exposure, top 10 growth strategies, social media selling tips, just guide advertising 101, ad rate trends page. So.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Idaho Fall Pickers asked, do you have to have a store for this?
Yes, you do. It says right here.
Okay.
Available to all active eBay stores subscribers in the US, UK, Germany, and Australia. That's why I jokingly made a comment. If you're in India, I'm sorry, you cannot use it.
Gotcha. So there you go, Linnell. It was yes. So hopefully that answered your question, Krillin. I'm
Yeah,
sure if you have any other questions, you can go back to and watch Chris's video on it with Gladys, and I'm sure they go over it in more detail then.
yeah, she actually shows how to do a campaign and stuff like that.
There you go. Yeah.
Did everybody get the link so that way I can stop the share? Can you let me know that? 'Cause I'm looking at the screen, so that way
Yeah, it looks, I think everybody that wanted it got it. Everybody, did you get that, Krillin? pages.ebay.com/seller information /stores/promoted listings.
well, yeah, there's a dash between promoted and listings.
Yep.
And
Krillin said, okay, he got it.
okay. Yeah,
So.
stop my sharing.
Yep. So, again, I don't know if that was a great way to explain it, but it's explained in Chris's video elsewhere. So that'll definitely be a way to get some more information about it.
And plus that link, if you go through that link, you'll see what I was trying to read off, so that you can click the highlighted links and go further further in and see what you have to do or
right. Okay, yeah. Krillin found a way to get it just by typing into Google. So, any other questions in the chat? Oh, you're going easy on us today. Jeez.
Well, we had a pretty good topic, I guess.
I know, man.
Question.
Yeah, we talk, and then ask questions, and nope, nobody's got any.
Well, the only other question I saw was Henry's usual. Is there going to be an after show?
Oh yeah, of course.
But I'm not really feeling an after show. Are you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Unless if there's probably 7 people that wanted to get in or something, maybe. But
Yeah, I'd like to have
it was just going to be Henry and Glenn because they're the only 2 that ever come in every single time.
Henry, Glenn, and Mike. Don't forget Mike.
Oh yeah, and Mike. Sorry.
And Coco.
Oh, look at Mr. Sadie. He makes it in, slides into the home plate with 1 minute to spare.
Mr. Sadie, that means you have to go back and read the whole show again.
Yeah.
Just catching it near the end, Mr. Sadie. This isn't Wednesday night. This is Sunday night.
Yep. So, all right.
And a reminder, Wednesday night, we are going to have the Gilmans, a.k.a. Gil Daddy, a.k.a. Gil Mama, on the show, and maybe one other guest. And I am not giving away the topic. So.
But I'm going to say that knowing the guests, you'll probably know the topic. Right, Chris?
They may know part of it.
Part of it, of course. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for spending some time with us this Sunday evening. Looks like we got up to, 32 people I saw? Yeah, 23 likes. That's not bad.
Yeah, I saw 33 or 34.
You got 33? Okay. Nice. Nice. That's our normal crew that comes in and watches us.
And you thought we were going to have short, lower amounts because of...
Yeah, I thought we would. I did. I thought we'd have a little bit smaller, but looks like either we were off time with them or something, or we were more important. I don't know.
Well, we're just happy with who we get, and we will see you all.
Absolutely.
We will see you all Wednesday night, and hopefully you'll enjoy Wednesday night's topic.
Yep. All right, man.
Everybody,
have a good evening.
Wednesday night.
See ya.